reached Empress of Oracle, where we tune into all things the divine, and I'm so honored to have Geraldine Orozco here today. Do you think that without these experiences that you've had with ET encounters that you would be on this path? And then, because you mentioned, there were some pretty scary ones that on some of your hypnosis sessions, and I actually really had a lot of interesting parallels to how you were feeling after these kinds of things. I did experience those, but then you also had one where it was almost like you said, it was more like your family was coming, to say hello to you and whatnot. So I wonder if you'd still be on that same path if not for these experiences, including kind of more the negative polarized ones.
Yeah, the answer is absolutely not, and if you talked to me, 7 years ago, or I should say, yeah, 7 years ago, just 7 years ago, I wouldn't have ever believed in a million years that I would be doing what I'm doing now, speaking publicly about the contact, because, I come from a very spiritual family, but quite conservative family as well, and it's like the spiritual journey is a very personal, very private thing. You do your own work. And there was a moment when I departed from spirituality to kind of explore other things, explore other religions. And I've learned that I grew up in that kind of environment of learning and exploration. And then when my partner passed away in 2009, that's when I really started to question the purpose and the structure of our life, the roles that we play, and the system, the matrix. In other words, I began to question that because the question was, if you're doing everything that you're supposed to be doing in order to have a joyful, happy life according to these structures of reality, you get the education, you get the career, you get the partner, you get the idea of the family and all that stuff, and yet there is no happiness at the end of that. So that kind of began to dissolve, and it began to kind of go deeper into this question of, well, what is it then? What is love? And I realized at the age of 25, I didn't know what love was, not even a little bit. I don't think I even truly felt love up until that point, not even from maternal or paternal or my father's side. That's the funny thing. We have these expectations for our units. And yet all of us are just humans trying to discover this. We're all trying to learn what that purpose is. So when all of that kind of dissolved, it kind of took me into this inner questioning. And I think when I wasn't finding the answers in books. And trust me, I love the bookstore. I would spend every day there, looking and just looking at the books for answers, and also lectures. And I kept hearing the same thing, but of course I didn't know what that was. What everyone was saying was love yourself, and you need to meditate and do this work. But I didn't really know what that meant until I sat myself down and did that difficult shadow work. And that's actually when I started to, I challenged myself and I said, well, if I do everything that Buddha did, what's going to happen? And that's essentially what I did. I experimented with that. And the reality started to kind of fall away. Personalities started to fall away. Matrix started to fall away. And what I found was nothing, essentially. I realized that I was not a result of any of that. I was not the personalities. I was not this life. And there was a point of zero that I reached. And that's when this experience happened, because and when it happened, it kind of dissolved another layer, of my understanding of reality. Because I did not even think about aliens or ETs, before that moment. And what I realized is that all the most impactful life experiences and all those dreams that I had, like you, they're not dreams that you have every night. They're dreams that are having a unique moments in your life, and they're combined with many other experiences. So, but for the average mind, we don't think that that's reality. We think that we don't even, put the two together. So it helped me completely enter another level of looking at life and life experience, and shattered the idea of that we are just earth human beings and there's nothing but this life or even reincarnation. We go way beyond that. And we are essentially these interdimensional beings. These interdimensional beings are aspects of ourselves that we meet when you destruct, these layers of yourself.
Yeah.
So it was a profound shift in every level, the way that I see the world, myself, and the purpose of life and our existence. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes me think that it's kind of scary to think that, there's only one thing, because when you think there's only one thing, in a way, you're kind of alone in the universe. I actually have this like very vivid memory, and there's almost like this, in some video games, they have this tornado guy with like a face, and it's God. And for one split second, God thinks, oh, I wonder what it would be like to not be God. And all of a sudden this thing pops out, and there's like the male, and there's the female, and the female, it becomes like what we've called the devil since that point. It's not necessarily the devil, but it's like this thing that's come outside of God. And then I see it, and it's trying to get back in, so strongly, but it can't get back in. And then I have the words of Miley Cyrus, "We can't stop, we won't stop." And it's almost like there was a separation of like the masculine, feminine, of what we call good and evil. Obviously, there's no such thing as good and evil. And then ever since then, all the wars that have been fought, all the times that when somebody's trying to kind of get into your free will space, it's almost like that thing is trying to reconnect. It's just, and it wasn't able to in my memory, or it's almost like this vision. So it kind of reminds me of that. And it's almost like you have to come to terms with the fact that we might be we're not alone, but if there's only one thing, it's kind of a scary thing. So you'd want to avoid that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's right. It is the positive and this duality that we're here to experience, which creates contrast, and that contrast is helping us evolve. That's actually the movement of the evolution. And it's really interesting because was this a dream that you had?
It was it's like a vision / memory. I don't know.
It's
so
very
weird.
interesting. Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. There's a lot of symbolism in that, right?
Yeah.
Where you see the divine feminine and masculine.